All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night. You're from Barbados. Good night to you. Saint Lucia. Good night to you. Dominica. Good night to you. Remember to share the live and just come on in. We actually today had a brief discussion surrounding this. For some reason or the other, it's gone, so we have to do over this program basically. So if you're from Barbados, good night. Jamaica, St. Lucia, let me hear you in the house. Top of the evening to everybody. Whether you're from St. Vincent, you're from Grenada, Dominica, Jamaica, Antigua, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, wherever you are in the Caribbean. Let me say good night to you. If you're living in North America and you're a Caribbean resident, top of the evening to you as well. Good night to all of my good fans. Scott out of Trinidad, top of the night to you. Listen, share the live, share the live, share the live. We're still on this topic because this is the trending topic in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's going nowhere, maybe for the next couple of days, and it will be discussed over and over and over until it sink into the brain cells of many, many, many people. All right. Tonight, I am also going to give you a time to call to this program and share your opinion. So save the number that is on the screen. That number is 533-9260. All right. Please, 533-9260. This is a live program tonight. This is your night to call in. This is your night to speak because it is a matter that happened in St. Vincent. And I think many of you would have seen the video already. Not going to go over the video. There are moments in the video when the video went dark. The video went dark. There are moments when the video went very dark. And all you could have heard were the screams of this woman saying, stop this, stop this. You didn't know what was happening during that time period. Well, Miss Barnwell was on a radio station this morning and she detailed what took place during the period when the camera was dark and you didn't know what was happening because it's all 11 minutes video basically you saw, but there were moments when it was dark. So you're going to hear tonight what she said when the camera went dark, what was taking place. Also, when she ended up at the police station, what happened. Remember, this was a woman who said that she went to the Public Service Commission's department to hand in her resignation, but she was seeking to get information on how many vacation leave she had left to place that within the resignation. All right. She was not given a chance to do so. Basically, she was saying that she was deemed a suspect for causing public disturbance, and the police was called in, and it went downhill from there. I think you all saw the video. Now, there's also a lawyer who said he knew of her case, and he spoke about some of the issues that happened, and you will hear from him tonight as well. There's also Dr. Roseanne Jasmine Smith, who sounded off on this issue as well. She had her take on the whole issue as well. So I'm going to give you all of that tonight. But tonight is also your night to call in and share your piece. So save that number you're seeing on the screen there, 533-9260. That will be your number to call when I open the lines after you hear from all these people who sounded off on this issue that happened. So let's begin first with Miss Barnwell when she was on the radio station this morning, and she told the nation what happened during the period when the camera went dark and what happened when she went to the police station as well. So let's listen to her and hear what she had to say this morning. Listen to this.
Well, she proceeded to grab me around my neck and thrust me to the floor, then grabbed me by my hair while I was on the floor and dragged me, while Constable Henry held my two hands, dragging me as well up the hallway.
Okay, so you heard some names. Those are police officers who were present, and She's mentioning their names because she know who they are, and she's telling the audience, the radio audience, what they did to her during the period when the cameras went dark. So let's start back from the beginning. Listen to what she said.
Well, she proceeded to grab me around my neck and thrust me to the floor, then grabbed me by my hair while I was on the floor and dragged me, while Constable Henry held my two hands, dragging me as well up the hallway.
What? Wow.
From the top floor of the ministerial building to the platform that is there in the front. You know, where they had the tourism sign, the St. Vincent tourism sign. Right, on that platform there.
My God. And
I was taken to the Central Police Station upstairs, I guess, which would be the CID unit. When I got there, Superintendent Francis came out and said, you know, what's happening? He's the head of CID. What's happening? I said, I don't know. I went to drop off, and as I'm trying to explain, he says, come now, come, let's talk about it, come. And as I'm walking down the hall, he leads me into this room, and then there's a bar, there are bars there, and there's a young man detained in there. So he opened the door and he says, get out! So the young man gets up and he gets out. And then the man literally takes his two hands and pushed me face down into the cell. My legs were still hanging out by the door. He told the officer, drag her in. They dragged me again inside the cell. Then he slammed the cell door. Okay. I was not even allowed to go to the bathroom.
Okay, hold on. While you were in custody?
Nobody told me anything. As a matter of fact, I explained to them, my husband does not know my whereabouts, so I need a phone call at least to my husband or my lawyer. I have a young baby. And I was not given the phone call. I had to pee in a bottle in the cell.
Oh, come on.
But you understand why the cells and them the smell.
Wait.
You understand now why?
Wait, Mrs. Ballantyne.
Barnwell.
Sorry, this is so confusing. Let me take off my glasses. Are you saying that you had to pee in a bottle while in the cell?
Yes, my lawyer came in and saw the bottle of pee, and then he told them to let me throw it out. So that's how they let me out of the cell, to discard the bottle of pee.
Okay.
When my lawyer came and I had to mop up what was there.
You yourself.
You had to mop it up?
You yourself had to do it.
Yes, please.
Nah, man.
Yes, please. I didn't, man.
What about, did anyone offer you?
So that is her experience. She is relating on the radio this morning, and note it's her word against, because we are not there. But the point about it is, what does it sound like to you? What does it sound like to you? Dragged by the hair, held by the neck, pushed to the ground, dragged by the hair, dragged by the hands up the hallway. That doesn't sound like slavery to you? A lot of you don't like to discuss things like these because you all have been so sucked into a political atmosphere. And we talk about going back to Africa, getting back to our roots. Blacks getting back to their roots, going back to Africa. But we're not ready for it. We're not ready for it. Do you really believe? You've seen the video. Many of you have seen the video. Some people said they're waiting to see the first part because we don't know what happened before. Well, clearly, if something had happened before, whether or not it was on video, we're quite sure by today, this woman would have been charged and still maybe released on bail and pending a court matter. But she was released the same day without a charge. So, what do we gather from that? People are still saying, could you imagine there's some women who are still saying we're waiting to know what happened in the first part of the video? Women are telling you that. There are women police officers present who looked at this situation where a woman was dragged, hauled by the hair. That could have been their mother or their sister. But our society has gone to a place where we no longer feel for each other. Many of us now seek riches. We seek a status. Want to live on Mars Hill, and nothing is wrong with that. Biggest house, biggest ride. We don't think about our brothers and sisters next door anymore. That's not the society we live into anymore. People's heart have become wax cold, like wax cold. So they don't care anymore about their immediate neighbors. They don't care anymore. But what has happened is that our new colonial masters are now those in charge of our countries. It's no longer the Europeans. It's those who are in charge of our countries all across the Caribbean. Those are our new colonial masters. And it appears that right throughout the Caribbean region, it appears that the police force in many of these islands have become an arm and extension of the government. Not to serve the people, but to serve those who are in power, appearing to. Got some calls from people in Barbados today. I got some calls from Grenadians, Jamaicans, messages, and people are saying to me, well, you guys haven't seen anything yet. It's worse in our islands. That's what they're saying to me. And their information, and when they relay certain things to me, they're saying to me, look, when I talk about these things, people get upset. One lady from Jamaica said to me, when I speak about these things, people get upset because I tell them if it was a European, a Chinese, an Indian, somebody else somewhere, and this is not racist talk, she said, the police would not have handled the situation like that. And I'm not talking about Miss Barnwell's situation by itself here. I'm talking about what dictates throughout the Caribbean region. We've seen how the police react to people from a different dispensation, a different race, a different status. We see how they behave to them. They basically kowtow. They bow to them in humble adoration. But for your very own people, black on blacks, you see the destruction? And then we are talking about wake up and going back to Africa and claiming our roots. We're not ready to claim anything. We're not ready to claim anything. And so we have a serious problem, which we all need to wake up and realize the environments that we are living in. You heard what she said. She said she had to pee in a bottle. And for those of you living in bigger countries and don't understand that, that's urinate. She had to urinate in a bottle. Did not allow her to go to the bathroom. She recently had a child. She had to pee in a bottle. And when she was finished, she had to mop up the ground because of what happened there. Could you believe in this day and age, in what we call civilized societies, 21st century, when we say that we have so much education and we have so much people with so much of, it's just horrible sometimes to think about these things. Acting without common sense. Peeing in a bottle. You allow a woman to pee in a bottle. And then she has to mop up on the floor. I could see this woman if she was in the United States of America tomorrow morning. We're hearing about $60 million lawsuit and $100 million lawsuit against the state. But of course, in the Caribbean region, we are a bit more relaxed and sit back and we take everything that comes our way from what we call the deep state. It's not only in America, deep state is everywhere. It's an institution that we don't see, but we feel it. A lot of you better wake up. A lot of you better wake up because you're still sleeping. You're sleeping with your eyes wide open. These are things that we must always remember, never to forget. You hear me? These are things we must always remember, never to forget. A lot of you forget things easily. Easily. And we don't react and we don't speak up about injustices. You know why? Because it's not at our doorstep. It's not at our doorstep. But remember what they said. They came for the Germans, and I didn't speak up. They came for who else? Remember that poem? Do you remember that poem? Huh? You remember it? First they came for the socialists, and I didn't speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not what? A trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was what? Not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. And that is what will happen to many of us in this Caribbean region of ours. We're no longer seeing democracies existing. What we are seeing are tyrants, authoritarians acting under the garb of democracy. They're using the cloak of democracy. And I often say to people that democracy really does not exist. It's a facade. It's just a way so that we can choose our own dictators. That's what it is. Nothing else. Don't get it twisted. But let's take a listen to what this lawyer had to say
Ms.
about the incident.
Charmin Barnwell has had some difficulties with the education authorities for some time. She did consult with me, might have been a year ago, and I know of a story, but I was taken aback. One, that she went to resign. I heard her saying that she wanted to know how much leave time she had, and there was clearly an interaction between her and some officials, and then the police were called in, and I don't know why they think that their role is to confront rather than to de-escalate. There ought to have been a better way in which Miss Barnwell was treated. It is clearly excessive and an abuse of the coercive power of the state. And I'm not sure that they care, though. Some of the police officers, I think, for the most part, are untrained. They don't know how to deal with these kind of confrontational situations. They're not trained to de-escalate situations. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to take a timeout. They don't know how to engage in persuasive conversation, interaction with citizens. As you see, sometimes police officers are confronted by a man whom they perceive to be mentally unstable. The man has a cutlass. The man is 20 feet away. You tell the man, put the cutlass down, but the man is unfit mentally. And the man makes a step towards them. And what do? Rather than run away or step back or fire a shot into the air to let this man know that there's danger ahead, they shoot him in the chest and he dies. But our courts have said, well, look, that's not the way you deal with people who are having mental issues. So they don't, on a number of different issues, they don't seem to have an understanding as to how to approach them, how to address them. So we ended up with what we had yesterday with Miss Barnwell. And it's really, really an unfortunate situation. It's something that should not have happened. It's something that the government should actually apologize for. You can't do that to citizens. You can't escalate into some kind of aggressive confrontation or removal from a scene that is unpleasant, because even where it is assumed the person might be doing something wrong. So,
But this is public
what can I say?
office.
So you heard from the lawyer. And he was making these statements this morning on the same radio station that the lady had called into. And he was giving his thought on what happened. I'm going to play that again for you because he said some very, very good things in there that we need to expand on. But before I do that, I want to remind you, the number on the screen, save it. Save that number, because when I'm finished here, I'm going to open the lines for you to call in. I'm quite sure that many of you want to have your say on this matter. So I'm going to allow you to call after we're finished with all these clips. Keep the number there. Save it in your phone so that you can call me. You can call me the direct, or you could call me via WhatsApp. But let's go over this clip because the lawyer here,
Miss
Jomo Thomas, said some very
Charmin
interesting things.
Barnwell has had some difficulties with the education authorities for some time. She did consult with me, might have been a year ago, and I know of a story, but I was taken aback. One, that she went to resign. I heard her saying that she wanted to know how much leave time she had, and there was clearly an interaction between her and some officials, and then the police were called in, and I don't know why they think that their role is to confront rather than to de-escalate. There ought to have been a better way in which Miss Barnwell was treated. It is clearly excessive and an abuse of the coercive power of the state. And I'm not sure that they care, though. Some of the police officers, I think, for the most part, are untrained. They don't know how to deal with these kind of confrontational situations. They're not trained to de-escalate situations. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to take a timeout. They don't know how to engage in persuasive conversation, interaction with citizens. As you see, sometimes police officers are confronted by a man whom they perceive to be mentally unstable. The man has a cutlass.
Let's take a break right there. It says it's basically an overreach, and many of the police officers are not trained to de-escalate situations, to take a time out and calm themselves down. When I said to you, this country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, has the highest incidence of gender-based violence against women when compared to other Eastern Caribbean states. In 2020, officials in this very same country, in the parliament, documented a rise in multiple forms of gender-based violence, notably physical, psychological, sexual, and economic domestic violence directed at women. This country has the highest incidence of gender-based violence against women when compared to other Eastern Caribbean states. When you heard that woman say that they dragged her by the hair, dragged her by the foot, put a hand around the neck and pushed her to the ground, you wonder why this country has the highest gender-based violence against women? That's a perfect example right there. And many of our people think that they know what our new colonial slave masters want. So they do things hoping that that is what the colonial slave masters want, which is are the new ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about those from the UK. Our new colonial masters, they think that they know what they want. So they act in this manner. But you can tell from many of the behaviors we see from police from time to time, we now know why St. Vincent has the highest incidence of gender-based violence against women. One could only wonder. One could only wonder. But a lot of our people are afraid to speak out about certain things because they've gotten a job from a government. They don't want to lose their perks, even when it hurts. But, like they always say, when they come for you, there will be no one to talk for you.
The man is
And I will state here tonight, and who wants to get vexed could get vexed. And who want to bust a vein could bust a vein. I speak it and I see it. I am saying to you again, if this was a European, a Chinese, an Indian, the police would not have acted in this manner. We see how they behave to our colonizers. They bow, they kowtow, they behave gracefully to our colonizers and those of that descendant and race. But to their very own people, this is how they behave. Our minds are still sick from slavery. We haven't released that yet. A lot of us. Some of us are waking up. Some of us already have our eyes wide open and we know what is happening. We are conscious to what is happening. And we can speak about it. But a lot of our people, and it may take a generation and generations to come before they're totally out of this thing we call slavery, because it is still existing in their minds. And so you heard a woman saying, and she stated that this morning, you heard a woman officer saying, "You're lucky, you're lucky." Could you imagine a woman is saying to a woman, "You're lucky," after she's gone through what she just went through? Could you imagine that? Women are saying that to women. And that's why I say to you that black people have not waken up as yet. The majority, they have not. They would have never said that to a white woman. And who wants to get vexed could get vexed. People don't like to hear you speak like this because they think you're into some racist thing. But this is not racism. This is speaking reality. This is speaking the truth. They would not behave like that to a European. Our people are sick. And they need to get slavery out of their head. Otherwise, we will be our own failure. Let's listen to this woman, Dr. Roseanne Jasmine Smith. She had a take on it. I'm going to play portions of it for you. Listen to this. Listen to this carefully.
There is something I decided that I'm going to come on very quickly and say to you, and it has to do with what happened yesterday in relation to Charmaine. And I realize there is something that people just don't get. And it's a comment that I saw that triggered this. A post rather. Whenever somebody get beat up by their husband, if they get up, they get proper licks and all that, a lot of people tend to ask, I wonder what she do. If somebody get murder, what he could have do he? If somebody get rape, I wonder what she wear. And in all of those types of comments, we are basically saying that there is probably something that they would have done that made them deserve to get what they get. And that is why I come on here, because people are asking, I saw a comment where somebody is saying, if you know what she would have been saying before, and the threats that she made. And I said to myself, are you saying that whatever happened after is justified by what she would have said? And I haven't received a comment, a response yet. I'm not expecting any. It was just placed there because I am putting it in the minds of people that is how we think. So people, I saw another comment where somebody said, I remember waiting on the whole story. What whole story? I am saying that she could have threatened, she could have been loud and whatever. Police are trained to de-escalate, not escalate. In fact, they should be trained. I am going back to a situation that I always say that I will never, ever forget. And that has to do with the senator, the Karim, I think he was deputy DPP or something like that, and Mr. John. No, it doesn't matter if the senator, if he was true or not, right? The case was thrown out. It doesn't matter. What matters is that there was a man with a gunshot wound. And what mattered to me is that the same justice system, the same police that are acting like this would not, did not act the same when it come to them. They were never arrested. In fact, most of us found out through Facebook, and it was after it was blown up on Facebook. People were aware, what is this? And it reminded me of this saying that monkey said the wall na level, a donkey said the wall na level. And it reminded me about this animal farm book that I read. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. And I said it time and time again, that police has strength for the little man. Now, if you break the law and there are certain things to be followed, I am all for it. But I am certain that there are times when we can see without needing the whole story that boundaries have been overstepped. You dragging a woman, you hold a woman, you pulling them like how man beat woman. And nobody sees something like that. A policewoman come and hold on now, and you are there, and we are hearing you're lucky. You're lucky. You're lucky about what? So there are parts of the story that we do not know. So it's not just about what she did. Let the law deal with what she did in the way the law supposed to deal with it. Similarly, and I always mention this particular case.
Yeah, so she went on to something else, so I'm going to stop there with that. But the point about it is, she gets it. She understands it. She understands what is happening in society. A lot of us are missing the point. We are missing the point we are missing the mark by far. By far. And there's always a different law for you, a different law for me, and another one for those who apparently are part of the status quo. Do you think that people who sit in seats of power like what we're discussing here? No, they don't. It goes against the grain. Do you think that they like when we are awakened and conscious enough to understand that people are allowing us to destroy each other? When they know that we know this, they get angry. When we start reaching into places and pull out the corruption, talk about it. Talk about the divisiveness that they bring about in societies and putting blacks against blacks. When they know that we are conscious about that, they get angry. And things happen very, very, very fast. But a lot of you need to wake up. A lot of you need to wake up. You're still sleeping. And I say to you, and I will say to you again, that this country of less than 100,000 people, basically, that's where we're running these days. They want more babies. Has the highest incidence of gender-based violence against women when compared to other Eastern Caribbean states. The government itself in the parliament in 2020 said that they had documented a rise in multiple forms of gender-based violence, notably physical, psychological, and sexual and economic domestic violence directed at women in this country here. So when you hear them say that, and you see what was on display with that woman, then you shouldn't ask any other question. It's time for people to wake up. Sleep in. Don't allow your political colors to color your judgment. Remove the rose colored glasses. Remove it. The public's trust in the powers that be is an important tool in solving crime in any nation. But when citizens feel distrust, when that is laid bare in the open, things go south. Police don't get the help that they need. There has to be a different way when it comes to our people, and our race, and how we deal with each other. Take that colonial mindset, that planter class mindset, take it out of your heads, because Europeans are still dictating to you how to act to your very own. People don't want to hear these things. They don't want to hear them. In 2022, we had a police commissioner called Mr. Colin John, and he has resigned. And he had said at the time in his speech in 2022 that the police force was being accused of escalating situation rather than de-escalating it. And that was made clear in his speech in 2022. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. I'm going to open the lines so that anyone who wishes to call, who wishes to speak on this matter, you can call me at this time. The number is on the screen. It's 533-9260. 1784-533-9260. Those of you who wish to call, call now. It is time for your voice to be heard. Remember, many of us won't always be around to speak up for you. This is your moment to call and to let me know how you feel about any situation, this situation, in your country. Call now. The lines are open for you. We have to get out of the very habit of just sitting around and listening to one person. We have to take part in the conversation. That is how we build a community. That is how we build more awareness. And that is how we get answers to many things. By you speaking to me, I speaking to you. So let's hear from you tonight. The number is on the screen. Call me now. The lines are open. I often say to you, first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak because I was not a socialist. And they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was what? Not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. You need to be part of the conversation. The lines are open. Call now. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Do not allow me to speak all the time, because we learn from each other. My voice will not be around forever. Others who speak, their voice will not be around forever. And that is the time you may want to hear it. So I'm giving you that chance to speak up. Speak now. Let's take a call. Hello, good night.
Shalom, shalom.
Yes, shalom, good night.
Good night. This is Coach Cheryl, and I'm calling from the great US of A through the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. How is everyone?
Well, everyone is good tonight. Actually, I'm in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And
Yes.
yeah, so well, thanks for calling. But you just go right ahead. Just make your point. Say what you got to say,
Yeah,
man.
I wanted to reach out and I wanted to follow up with you on some other items, even though I reside in the US and I'm thinking of moving the next level to the motherland, but I still have my roots in the Caribbean. Aunts and uncles, many reside in the Caribbean. I love Grenada. I had former employees of St. Vincent, so I know the island. I love Antigua. So my heart is still with the islands. However, I think you made a very great point in reference to your theme about the abuse and misuse of power
Mhm.
with anyone that's in authority, starting with our prime ministers and the presidents. In this particular case, we're talking about police, and maybe the United States could very well be the country that's known for abuse of power by the police, right? Almost in a militarized fashion. And part of it is about speaking up and speaking out. So there have been a lot of marches and protests, etc., for a very long time. But in
Yeah.
following your channel, I also observed that you're a man of faith and you know truth. So we know the greater problem,
Oh yeah.
in addition to the Caribbean trying to mirror those of the Americas or from the West, which is a false, really also false pretense, right?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of our brothers and sisters are being deported based on the new administration in the United States, right? I know for years they used to call Trinidad and Tobago Little America,
Oh yeah.
and they wore that like a badge of honor. I'm not sure why, because it's not. But we know the greater power, there's a level of spiritual attack. We know we battle not against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers and rules in dark places. And we're living in a day and time, I call it just very precarious, where if you're not under the blood of Yahushua Mashiach, otherwise known as Jesus Christ the Messiah, and if you're not only awoke, but doing and being obedient, then you fall prey
Absolutely.
because the abuse is useless and senseless.
Hmm.
So you have to think, okay, so why did that happen? And now they're going after all women, including in the Americas. The UK is no different. So Europe is no different. It's global. So the abuse of God's children, it's global, because we're getting closer and closer to the time that we're in. So if you have any questions to me, I'll be happy to answer.
Oh,
But overall,
I think I think you said it plain and straight. You've covered all the bases.
yep,
And who have ears to hear, let them hear.
amen. Amen.
Yeah.
It's really an
Okay.
awakening, even when I try to convey that to family members. You're alienated because you're speaking truth, because most of the Caribbean are under the guise of Roman Christianity, under the Catholic Church, the idol worship, and they would refuse to turn away. I myself was a former Roman Catholic, so I know, and it was years. So I know what it is to serve something which I thought I was serving. At least my heart wasn't around right place, but I was serving wrong. And now that I know better, I must do better. And like you said, those who have ears to hear, let them hear. And with that
Yeah.
response, I would like to reach
All
out to
right.
you again, maybe as a chat,
Yeah,
but
not a
in that
problem.
response, I
Not
will
a
yield.
problem. All
Okay?
right. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you
Thanks a
so
lot. Appreciate it. All right.
Blessings. Shalom.
So,
Bye.
all right. So that's our first caller out of the United States of America. And she talked about the issue of power, the abuse of power. She talked about religion and different facets and her understanding of certain things. And of course, you have the right to call and make your opinions known as well. So I'm leaving the lines open for the next few minutes where you can call me and let me hear what you have to say, what you're thinking. It's always good to have people interact with each other. Not going to stretch this on because I know it's a night when people have to go to work tomorrow. And those of you who wish to call, you can call now. If not, we're just going to wrap things up until another time. I think we had a very healthy discussion. A lot of people are still afraid to speak. Heaven knows, I don't know why. This is a free medium. It's on the internet. You know, we have unlimited whatever, unlimited this, and we really should be able to speak our minds. I'm trying to get people into the notion of calling and speaking. Writing comments is good, but speaking is even better. You get a lot of things out more when you speak, because you may just make a comment which nobody ever see, but when you speak it goes down there and people can go back and they can listen and they can analyze what you're saying, and maybe you could help someone along the way. But like I said, if no one is interested in calling, we'll just shut the program off for tonight, and we definitely would roll in another time when another topic arises, and we will see what takes place from there. So those of you in Barbados, those of you in Trinidad, those of you in Grenada, those of you in St. Lucia, Antigua, wherever you are, let me say good night to you.